Hey, hi there. So, something a little bit different. I know we're in the midst of a book study here, but this is actually a short story that I'm going to be giving you today. It's about roughly about 15 years old, I think, probably give or take. That's going back, it's not like yesterday, right? Um, there's places in here where they probably should require some, inflection and require me to like enunciate a little bit, which is an awesome word because it sounds like what it is. Enunciate. It's cool. But I may or may not succeed at that, and if I do and it's good, then all I can say is book your Oscar tickets early. Okay. Alrighty. So without further ado, um, it's called Alone He Stands, and we will start it off here now. Um, Alone he stands. The weight of his shield seems so great now, as does the sword clenched in his right hand. He is tired, so very, very tired. Yet there's no time for rest, as the battle rages ever onward. He is a warrior, and he has been such for as long as he can recall. He doesn't know when the war started. He was not there in the beginning. Neither does he know when it shall end, or even if he shall live to see that glorious day. The only thing he knows is that he is alone, and he must fight. He must fight not only for himself, but for his king. As his thoughts begin to wander, to things which are but fantasy, the silence is broken by the ringing of the arrow as it glances off the edge of his shield, barely missing its mark in his heart. Again they come. The arrows start to fall like rain around him, their fiery tips driving into the earth where he stood only moments before. He braces himself, curling up behind the wall of bronze which is his only shield and shelter in the storm. Many arrows hit their mark, yet his shield does yet hold, and allows his life to go on a bit longer. But a shield can only cover so much of a man, and a couple of the stray projectiles cut through flesh that is not covered by shield, helmet, or breastplate. The burning stain is not unfamiliar to him. He's been wounded many times before, but never has that fatal blow come. In the distance he hears them, hears those cries and screams that can turn a man's resolve to dust, his courage to fear. It is always the same routine. They fire from at range and then move in while he's weakened. Or when they think he is at least. Sometimes he's weakened by the assault, but more often than not it causes him to stand a bit firmer. Perhaps it's pride which makes him stand, or perhaps the rage at they who would dare to attack so ceaselessly. No, that's not it. It's because he must stand. His king called him by name, gave him the very armor which has helped him to survive this battle, gave him his sword, such a beautiful thing, double-edged and razor-sharp, never dulling or breaking even after seemingly endless use. While his eyes cannot see them, he knows they come. He reaches over with his shield arm and removes the arrow that has shallowly pierced him, just to the left of his shoulder. If they think that a wound such as this will stop him, they're in for a rude awakening. Bracing himself for the impending assault, he scans the horizon before him, searching barren hilltops for his foe. His wounds hurt, and a small trickle of blood leaks slowly out of his body. Oh, how he longs for the day the battle ends. How wonderful even a short ceasefire would be. A chance to rest, perhaps even to heal. He forces his thoughts back to the battleground, just in time as they peek their eyes directly in front of him. And before he's even had a chance to think about it, he's engaged in the battle once again. The first few reach him quickly. He knows the strategy all too well. Those quick few who drive into him at first are merely there to weaken and frustrate him. Like a pack of dogs, they nip at him. Patience is the key here. Blocking their stinging blows, he waits for his opening to be revealed, and then strikes with perfect accuracy, dropping them to the dust at his feet. They do not even come close to ending his days, yet They do their part by tiring him slightly. As sweat runs down his brow and over his eyes, he is almost tempted to remove his helmet for a moment for relief. But that temptation doesn't last long. He's done this before, and he's no fool. Definitely not foolish enough to remove his armor for any length of time. More arrows drive towards him. Not like that last volley, wild and striking all around. No, these ones are aimed directly at him. He watches as each one grows closer, then dodges them quickly or blocks those he cannot do so with his shield. Another round yet survived. Then they're upon him. Their screams terrified even to him. These foes are not like the quick ones before, nay, these are skilled warriors. No armor of any kind covers them, yet they hold a blade in each clenched fist as they strike. They know how to fight, know where to strike the fatal blow, and they're most capable of doing just that. As the first comes upon him, he raises his shield to stop his head from being removed, and then parries his own blade towards them. They dodge his strike and swing backwards towards him, again just missing his throat. But in their swing they expose themselves just slightly for a moment. Instinctively he drops low and buries his sword within them. With a scream and one last desperate swing they fall to the earth. Ah, if it were only them. But the next is upon him even before the dust has settled on their fallen comrade. Again the clashing of blades. Among the clashing of blades he spies something out of the corner of his eye. A trick, perhaps. No, that it's another warrior like himself engaged in battle with the enemy. As his mind races, this new figure on the field spies him as well. Going by the look on their eyes, they too thought they were the only ones here in this desolate battlefield. Even as they realize they're not alone, the enemy moves between them in an effort to hide each from the other, to keep them separated. Vile fiends! He's not alone out here. This is at the very least one more warrior on the field. They've kept him from seeing them, and those others from seeing him for who knows how long. Divide and conquer, so it would seem, but no more. Now he knows. Slowly he makes his way towards where the other figure stood moments before. His foes intensify their attack and attempt to stop him, but are unsuccessful as he comes to within a few arms' length of them. While introductions would be nice, that'll have to wait for now as he takes up his position, back to back, with his newfound ally. The attack continues, increasing in ferocity, yet they are a bit easier to handle with another at his back, and the enemies fall like flies. His mind begins to wonder. If there's this other one, perhaps there are more as well. As if reading his mind, his newfound friend shouts that exact thought to him over the ringing of steel on steel. Now a new purpose has been found, a new reason to survive the day. During a momentary lull in battle, not more than a few seconds, really, they scan the surroundings. Almost as if some veil were lifted from the eyes, they spy others on the field. Some alone, some in groups of 2, 3, even larger. The warrior's hearts race as he realizes he is not, in fact, alone at all. In that moment of realization, he hears the sound behind him. The sound of a great multitude of voices. He turns and looks towards the sound and sees countless other warriors standing shoulder to shoulder, shield to shield in a great phalanx that spans as far as he can see. Warriors of the king united as one body, protecting each other, fighting for each other, living for each other, and all living and dying for the king. The enemy is less than pleased, it would appear, as they charge forward in an attack greater than any he has ever seen or faced before. How can there be any hope against such an assault? And then he hears it, a mighty roar, a war cry like no other. It is the voice of the king himself. The horde stops in its tracks. Some fall to their knees and scamper off like scared rabbits, while others turn and flee as fast as their legs can carry them. They may be brave against weary warriors, but against the king? No. They know who he is quite well. They'll not stand against him personally, as their headlong flight back to the hills reveals. The warrior breathes a sigh of relief. This round was the king's and his alone. A great cry of praise rises up to him as many a thankful combatant also breathes a bit easier for at least the moment. But it's merely a moment, as they know that even now the horde is regrouping just beyond the rise. A great multitude calls out to him, even parting slightly to welcome him within their ranks. To say that his heart is filled with joy would be quite the understatement. He and his new companion make their way over to take their places in the ranks. Yet even as he is about to join the body, he spies something which causes him to feel a bit disturbed. Some of those who are fighting in the battle have started removing their armor. He watches, horrified, as they strip off everything, even down to their belt and their sword, laying them on the ground beside them. Unable to take it anymore, he runs to them, pleading to put it back on. The battle's not over, he cries out to them. You're in danger. If they can't hear him or don't care. Even as he calls out to them, a single stray arrow, one which normally would have done little damage, pierces the very heart of one of them and ends their days of service. And still, most don't bother putting on their armor back on, since it was not they who were hit. He finds the serious thought of entering their days himself entering his mind, but halts it quickly. They'd not be here if not called by the king, and who is he to question him? No, he'll not end them. He will instead use his own shield to help protect them the best he can. It's what the king would want him to do, after all, protect those who cannot or will not protect themselves. As the thought goes through his mind, he notices that the phalanx is in position to do just that. It would appear they do far more than just protect themselves. But who's this person he sees nearby? They wear no armor, nor do they seem to have any close by. Perhaps they're all about offense and feel that they need none. No, that can't be it. As he sees no sword nearby either. He draws closer to find out who or what they are. They greet him happily, as if not a care in the world exists for them. The warrior, concerned and curious, inquires about them and the battle and their lack of armament, and is shocked at the reply he gets in return. They have no idea what he's talking about. Battles? They don't believe in battles. Not only that, but if they happen upon one, they make it quite clear they would do whatever they had to avoid it completely. Avoid it completely? How can you avoid that which is going all around you constantly? Obviously, the enemy has blinded them to the sights and sounds around them, much like they did to keep him from knowing about those others who fought the battle around him. Well, he wonders exactly what to do about this rather odd, deceived person before him, and another from the ranks comes up to him. They explain that some are called to the battle, but are blinded to it. So, as long as they do not see themselves getting struck, it's a clever tactic of the enemy, as to not only do they keep another warrior out of the fight, but they also cause those who do fight to have to keep a watchful eye on those ones for their own protection. What a vile enemy we face. The clatter of swords on shield breaks the conversation. The great multitude is banging their swords against their own shields. The cry goes out. We stand for our king, they cry out. He alone is worthy. Warrior after warrior cries out, we shall not fall, we shall not fail. Forward, forward, we take the battle to them. Their gates will not stand. The king himself has gone out before them, clearing the way, calling them onward. for the King who is worthy, for the King. Finally, be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. Put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers and authorities and powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Therefore, put on the full armor of God so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground, and after you have done everything, to stand. Ephesians 6, 10-13. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Buy those Oscar tickets early. Seats are going fast, man. Just saying.